Hello everyone, welcome back to Nana's Curious Steps. If it's your first time, welcome. It is lovely to have you here. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. I truly appreciate the support. And I know it's been a while, but don't come for me. There's just been a lot of things going on, a lot of really exciting things. But I just wanted to use this opportunity to just really say that God is really good and He is a God of being in the details. Just wanted to say that before I officially started my video. If you have not already done so, please do hit that like and subscribe button as well as the bell button to get notified whenever I post and just to be able to see other videos that I post as well. And please do share my video with anyone that you feel like would resonate with this video. So as you can see by the title, I do have a job now. I know that the last time that I spoke to you, I was creating content, but during that time, I didn't have a job. I was unemployed for 6 months. From January until June, I was unemployed. So it's really just by the grace of God that I was able to get through the 6 months, pay all my bills, and yeah. But I also wanted to use this opportunity just to say thank you to all my friends and family who were a major support during this time, because it was not the easiest. And it really definitely showed me how God is a provider and He sustains His children and the people that truly trust in Him. So just wanted to say that. Let me just get right into this video today. I do want to mention to everyone before I get started, I just want to talk about the companies that I work with, just because it's going to make sense while I tell the story. Please bear with me. So the first company is the company that I work with in 2023. That is Company A. That was the first government agency that I work with. The second company, which is Company B, is the company that I got furloughed from. Company C is my current company. So again, it's all going to make sense once I start talking about everything. So how I got the job was I was working at Company A, which was my first government agency. And in that position, I had to get a mentor, or I was given a mentor just to kind of show me the ropes within recruiting as it relates to being in a government agency. And so when I started, he kind of showed me the different platforms that they were using, the different recruitment strategies that they were using, and just how to recruit while being at the government, just because I didn't really know anything. I came from a staffing agency, and so that's kind of all I knew. So I was working with him a lot, but after a while, unfortunately, he had to leave just because of reasons best known to him. And so once he left, we kind of kept in touch here and there. So he had reached out to me one day and was just like, he found another position and he really likes the agency, and was just kind of telling me about it and told me that if I was ever looking for a job, he was happy to be a referral, but also if there was any positions at his current agency, he could put in a good word for me. But at the time, since I was working at Company A, I really wasn't interested in moving at that time. So I just kind of let him know that I'm still happy where I am and I just want to continue working here. So fast forward to, I would say, about April and May of 2024. I had gone back home to Ghana, and I was there with family, and I was telling my mom that I was open to looking for new opportunities, just because I just felt like the place that I was working at, which was Company A, was not a place that I was really happy with at the time. And so she told me the type of companies that I could apply to. And I was telling her I was interested in kind of moving into a project management related position while still recruiting, but just wanted to handle more projects, because I felt like that's something that God had placed on my heart to pursue a while ago. And so again, she was mentioning the type of companies. So I was talking to her, but while I was talking to her, I was kind of scrolling through LinkedIn just to kind of see the opportunities that were there. And I saw that same company that she was talking about. And I was just like, wow, is this God? Like, this is so weird. It was like they were hearing our conversation or something. So I immediately saw that position and I applied. And this was with Company B. So I applied for the position. And as a recruiter, I always tell people that if you apply for the position, don't just wait. Try to reach out to somebody within that organization just to figure out how you can move forward within the process. So I reached out to the person that had posted the position, letting her know that I was interested. She literally applied 5 minutes later and then told me that she was going to refer me to the hiring manager and then let me know what the next steps were. This is all while I was in Ghana. So I came back to the US and I was waiting. I finally heard back from Company B. they wanted to move forward with an interview. This was going to be the first step process. So I was kind of like with the initial stages, talking to them about the role. So I had a conversation with them. This was in the second week of May. So that's just to tell you how quickly things moved, because I messaged this person in May, I believe it was May 7th. I messaged that person through LinkedIn. She responded. And then the second week, we had scheduled the interview. And then within the last week of May, I heard back that I got the position, but it was contingent on the fact that I had to pass a background and I had to pass a drug screen as well as a reference check. So I made sure to send all these things. This was all while I was still working at Company A, which was the first government agency that I was working at, where I met the mentor. Fast forward, a few weeks go by, I don't hear anything from the position that I had gotten, which was Company B. And I was just like, okay, let me just follow up with them. I hear that they don't have funding, but that's something that they had mentioned to me after I had gotten the role, that they don't have funding. So I would have to wait it out until they get funding, meaning if I start the position, I won't get paid. So they're not able to have me start if there is no funding. So I followed up 2 weeks later because I believe they had given me a timeline of when they would receive the funding. I think they had told me the week of June 18th that they will or 14th that they will receive the funding. So I followed up within that week. They said still nothing. And if you know, that was also a government agency as well. If you know government agencies, they take a lot of time to process a lot of things. So I wasn't really nervous at that time. So I was just like, you know what, I'm just going to give it time. Fast forward to, I would say, about the end of June, I just really was not happy and comfortable at Company A. So I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to pray about it. If I feel led, I will just leave this job. Even though I haven't heard from Company B, I'm just going to leave this job. So I spoke to my mom. I spoke to a few family members. They're all like, you know, just wait for Company B. You know, you already interviewed, you already have the job, but it's just that you have to wait until they say they have the funding for you. And I was just like, you know what? Like, I feel led to leave at this moment. I don't know why, but I feel led to leave. And even though I was scared, I was like, and everyone or most people were just saying, no, like, don't do it. Like, my mom was so against it. I remember her just saying, like, no, like, you know, just wait it out until, you know, you have the job with Company B for sure. And I was just like, no, I just feel led. I do remember that day so well. I think it was within that same week of me reaching out to Company B, just asking them if they had gotten the funding. I believe it was at the end of the week. So I think it was maybe about June 20th or so. I had messaged or I had sent an email to my boss, and I just told him I'm putting in my 2 weeks. I was thankful for the projects, but I just felt like at this time, I'm just looking for something that is in alignment with what I want to do. I, mentioned that to him. We had a conversation, and then I know I had to transition some things off to the other recruiters that I was working with or the other colleagues that I was working with. And so within that time, my mentor from Company A, who had started the role at Company C, had messaged me and was like, hey, like, how are you? Just out of the blue. And I was just like, oh, I'm fine. I told him that I was leaving Company A, and he was like, wow, like, do you have something? I was like, no, I don't. And he was like, oh, wow, like, that's really tough, like, that you would be able to do that. And I was like, yeah, like, I just felt led to do that. And he was like, well, my company is currently hiring. So if you would be interested, I can put in a good word for you. Just send me your resume and then we can move on from there. So I was like, oh, that sounds good to me. I think the only thing for me was, at that time and in that season, I was looking for something that was fully remote, because Company A was a hybrid schedule of 2 days in a week. And Company C was saying that they wanted someone to come in person 3 days a week. And I was just like, oh no, like, I am not trying to do that. Like, I am either looking for a remote schedule or, 1 to 2 days. 3 days is a stretch. When he said that, I was just like, but I was like, you know what? I'm just going to see what it's about. Like, try to have the conversation. So literally the week that I was meant to interview, I heard back from Company B, which is the company that I got furloughed from, saying that they have finally gotten the funding and that they want me to start. I just had to message the hiring manager for Company C and just let him know that, hey, thank you so much for this opportunity, but unfortunately I would have to pass on this at this time. And he was really sweet and just really supportive, just told me he wishes me all the best, and that was that. I started the position with Company B in July of 2024. And this lasted for about 6 months. So from July until January of this year. And when I had come back from Ghana, I heard that I was being furloughed literally 2 weeks after. And again, that was one of the toughest times of my life because it truly had me trusting God as a provider. If I'm being honest, I barely had any money saved. I probably only saved money for like 2 months of my rent. But again, I had other things that I needed to pay for. So it was just like, even if it was just like rent, like those are not the only things I had. It was just like, wow, like it was just such a shock to me. Coming back to how I actually got this job, it's just, I feel like it's a miracle in itself, if I'm being honest, because the same day that I was furloughed was the same day that my mentor, who worked at Company A, that works at Company C, and we both work together now, he messaged me. He basically asked a question and he was like, oh, how are you? How's your job? And I was just like, like, why is he asking me about that? Does he know something? And at that time, because it was that same very day that it happened, I really was not like trying to have a conversation or really tell anyone because I felt ashamed. I was just like, I literally just got this job 6 months ago and I lost it. I knew it wasn't my fault, but at the time, I did feel like it was. It was just like, did I make the wrong decision? Was this not the job that I was meant to take? And all the things. So again, I didn't respond. Fast forward to March, he messaged me again, just saying, hey girl, like, how are you? Like, how's everything? So I felt at that time I was ready to share with him I had lost my job. He expressed his, he was very empathetic towards my situation and told me that he actually knows someone that is currently hiring for a recruiter. I should just share my resume with him. He would send it over to her and just let her know that I am interested in the position and will put in a good word. He did exactly that. So I reached out to the hiring manager. He gave me her email. I told her, again, just re-express interest in the position. And then the following week, she scheduled an interview with me. While having a conversation, she mentioned salary, the work environment, and all the things. It seemed like a really good company, but unfortunately for me, the salary expectations were very low. And one thing I had told myself while looking for a new role was that I wanted, one, to be able to work in an environment that was not toxic and to be at a company that would meet my salary expectations. And that salary was very low. And I was just like, you know what? I know I'm looking for a job, but I know that God will not withhold any good thing from me. So I was just like, yeah, no, this is not going to work. In that moment, I was thinking in my head, this is not going to work. But I think that out of desperation, I was just like, you know what, let me just try to see what the second conversation was about. I know that the interview for that company happened within the middle of the week. So I was like, okay, I will just let her know the following week if I'm interested in moving forward with the second interview. So she had actually sent me an invite for the second interview. And that was when I had to let her know that I'm so sorry. Like, I really don't think this is something that's going to work. So I'm going to have to respectfully decline the interview. And she completely understood. She wished me well, and that was that. And this was in March of 2025 this year. Fast forward, maybe a few weeks later, I would say about 2 months later, I received another text from my mentor who currently works at Company C, and we worked at Company A. And he's like, hey, how are you? Are you in the market? And I'm like, yep, I am still in the market. And I was like, I was actually going to message you. The company that you had initially referred me for, it didn't work out. The salary was really low and I just had to decline. He was like, oh, I'm so sorry. And he was like, well, my company is looking for a recruiter again. The position that you had initially were supposed to interview for a year ago is actually open again. And I was like, wow. That's so crazy. And so he was like, well, I will let you know once everything goes through, just because with a lot of hiring processes, even if a role comes through, they still have to go through budget. They have to go through the different processes. The role can be open, doesn't necessarily mean it's ready to be recruited for. So he told me he would let me know. And I was like, okay, cool. That's totally fine with me. He should just keep me in mind. I had sent him my resume, didn't hear anything back until June, I would say June 4th. which was like 3 weeks after, close to a month at that point. And he asked me again, am I in the market? And I was just like, yep. And he was like, well, I'm so sorry this is taking so long. It's just that our processes just take a while just because it's still technically a government agency. And I was like, no worries at all. I'm still like actively interviewing, but if he hears anything, he should just let me know. And so he had mentioned to me that I would have to start off as a temporary employee, because if I didn't, it would just take much longer for the role to come through, to interview, to do all the things. And I was just like I was just very hesitant, because I came from a role that was not necessarily a contracting role, but I was a contractor for a government agency, even though I was a full-time employee for the company that I work for. So we had a contract from an agency, but I was technically working full-time for my company. But the reason that I got furloughed was because when that project that I was working on got cut off, that was the only type of projects that I was working on. So technically, if that project was no longer there, I could not be working for the company anymore. So again, that's kind of how I lost my job. The reason why I was hesitant was because I was just like, I don't want to be in a temporary position. I just came from a role that was contracting and I got furloughed. And so I was like, I don't want to be in this situation. So I was like, I'm gonna think about it. So I spoke to my mom, I spoke to a few of my cousins, and most importantly, prayed about it. And I just felt like, okay, you know what? Let me just try to give this a chance and just see if this is not something that's going to work. The worst that could happen is I don't like the company, or, it doesn't work out, and I can just still be applying for other positions while I am working at this role. And so I decided to interview. And before I did, I actually had a conversation with that same hiring manager that I did a year ago. And he was just very nice. He just started talking to me about the work environment and just a lot of things that I was concerned about and was praying for. And it was just so funny, because it was like, I never even asked him questions about the work environment. I didn't ask him about his leadership style, but he was just saying a whole bunch of things that were just making me reassured. And I was just like, wow, like, I feel like I usually have to ask all these questions. So for him to already just talk about it just made me feel like safe. And it felt like I would be like, it just felt like it would be an inclusive environment. I was just like, you know what, I'm going to go forward with the interview. So he was like, I will schedule the interview for the next week. But before I do that, I'm going to prep you. I'm going to let you know what to expect. And he was doing that because he was not going to be on the panel, but it was going to be the assistant VP and the VP of HR. So he was just letting me know what to expect, the type of questions, not necessarily telling me what it's going to look like, but kind of letting me know what to prepare for. And I was just like, wow, like, I really appreciate him for, prepping me and letting me know what to expect so I can come prepared, asking the right questions, and also giving specific examples that I have had in my past experiences. And that's exactly what I did. So the following week, I had the interview, which I believe was the week of, I would say like it was definitely the second week of June. So I had the interview, and literally that same day, I heard back from my mentor that I got the position. And then I got reached out to by the hiring manager that they wanted to move forward with me, and I could start the next week since it was a temporary role. And I was just like, wow, like, the way it just moved so fast was just like, wow, God, like, you really are in the details, and you're a God of sudden happenings. I was just really grateful. And I was just like, Lord, I don't want to be in a temporary position for a long time. So please let it happen quickly. Like, you let this happen. And lo and behold, I was able to start my full-time position after a month. And usually it could take between like 90 days to a year for someone to transition. And that's something that happened to a lot of people, including my boss. And it was just like, wow, God, like, you really hear my prayers. Like, you really were like with me throughout everything. And so that's really how I got my job. And I can say that I am truly happy with where I'm at. Like, I'm really, really grateful with the things that I'm learning. I'm grateful for the team that I work with, because it's not only a healthy environment, but I just love how we all work together, and just how I'm able to relate with my boss and even my mentor, who is also my coworker now. And it was just like, wow, like, if I just was really mean to him, or if I never responded to him in March and told him I had lost my job, I probably won't have this job now. And it's just so crazy because he was always the one reaching out, asking me questions. And it was like, I was really hesitant to tell him things because I feel like I was stuck in my ways of, this is how God is going to give me the job. I thought God was going to give me my job through LinkedIn, through ZipRecruiter, but he like showed me he could give me a job in a different way, and it was through somebody. And so it just let me know that one, God is a God of sudden, like he's a God of suddenly. And he is also a God that is able to use people. We don't have to limit God. I was truly limiting God to job boards. I was limiting God to, okay, maybe I can go to this job fair and I will meet someone. But it was like within my connections, I was able to get this job. So I just wanted to share this testimony with everyone and hope that it will resonate with people that, you know, if you are in a current season where you're looking for a job, just make sure not to limit him because he is able to use anybody to give you a job. He is able to provide a job through someone you knew back when you were at an old position, through a family member, through a current coworker. They could like refer you to something else, like anything. So again, if you are currently in a season where you've been waiting for a position and you've been looking for a while, don't give up. Like, don't give up because God is not giving up on you, and God is still working. Even if you don't see it, God is still working. And so I just wanted to share my testimony in hopes it would resonate with everybody, but most importantly, to the people who are at the verge of giving up. So thank you for staying till the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in my next one. And don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button for more videos like this. Bye, and I'll see you.